tons of this stuff, of plastic, gets dumped in the world's oceans and seas. And Jules is here on the Gower now, reporting on what we can do to help stem this flow of pollution. And one answer could be as simple as changing your shower gel.
Only 15% of the rubbish in our oceans ever finds its way back on shore. The rest of it is out here. We've got 8 local divers today who'll be going down onto the seabed 20 metres below us. And we're rigging the divers with cameras to see what trashy treasures they find. Marine animals like whales, dolphins, turtles and fish are all under threat from the waste and litter in our seas, with hundreds of species accidentally eating or becoming entangled in the stuff that we just don't want anymore.
More rubbish, more plastics.
Colin Whitehall and his fellow divers have decided to take matters into their own hands, removing litter piece by piece.
In the 10 years that I've been diving in the UK, probably more than that now, there's a visible increase every year. There's more and more flotsam and jetsam that we're picking up from the waters. Crabs and other small crustaceans will get caught up in line in monofilaments. If someone's hooked a fish and it's broken the line or been snagged into a rock, you often find the fish still tethered to the seabed, and we try and rescue what we can.
More than 600,000 tonnes of fishing gear is lost in our oceans every year. And it's not just a danger to sea life, but also a deadly threat to recreational divers like Colin and his team. How hazardous is it for you as divers?
Our biggest concern as a diver would be nets, whether they've been lost over a wreck, when someone's been trawling, or just been swept in. Monofilament nets particularly, it's very, very difficult to see under the water. Obviously, as a diver, we don't want to get caught into a net and then try not to get back to the surface. We feel very passionate about it. I mean, we're seeing things that 99% of the population aren't seeing. So when you go on the country walk, people always describe litter. It's exactly the same under the oceans. If everybody did the same thing, if you went out for a country walk, you went mountaineering, whatever, you took 1, maybe 2 pieces of litter back with you, then maybe we'd start eating away the problem.
Presumably that's some of our first divers coming back to the surface.
It is, hopefully. They'll have brought some rubbish up with them.
After an hour of busy underwater litter picking, it's time to head back to the shore to determine the source of the haul. And alongside the rubbish collected today, Colin is keen to show me a surprisingly deadly item of marine litter, a ghost pot.
It's where a lobster pot's been lost at sea for whatever reason. It may have been maybe washed off in a storm or caught in a crevice or around a wreck. So the lobster moves in to go for the bait. Something else will come in to eat that lobster, something else will come in to eat that. And it could, I mean, in effect, stay there for years, just carrying on fishing.
So it's a vicious and appalling and macabre circle in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so.
Photos from previous dives when Colin and his team first began their operation illustrate the scale of the problem. But the greatest concern to conservationists and ecologists isn't this supersized rubbish. It's something deadly but tiny that lurks in all of our bathroom cupboards, and it's transforming the world around us. Well, on a beautiful sunny day like this, with the surf glistening along the shoreline, it's tempting to think that much of the sparkle here is provided by the sand. But in more recent years, it's been found to contain an extra ingredient. Millions upon millions of tiny particles. And yes, you guessed it, it's plastic, man-made and deadly to wildlife. Plastic microbeads found in everyday cosmetics such as shower gel, toothpastes and exfoliants are polluting our seas at an estimated rate of 4,000 tonnes a year in Europe alone. Laura Isles from the Marine Conservation Society is concerned that these tiny plastic particles eaten by fish are even turning up on our plates. What actually are we looking at here?
This is microbeads.
So this is the stuff that gives you that abrasive feeling on your face if you scrub it with one of those exfoliants?
Yes, it's not natural products that are being used to get that kind of effect. It's plastic. They're so small, and unfortunately they're going down our sewage systems and entering the sea. So all the animals are eating it, and then of course us as seafood consumers are eating the fish, and we are in turn ingesting plastics that we have unfortunately put there in the first place.
A single tube of face wash contains more than 250,000 microbeads, and thousands are washed down the sink in each application.
People don't realise that that's what is in these things, and unfortunately, we're using them in every day. They're going down the drains, and then obviously out into the sea.
The UK government is working towards banning microbeads, but in the meantime, we can make a difference by seeking out face washes, toothpastes and shower gels that clearly state they don't contain these deadly microplastics. It is a sobering thought to think that of all the plastic ever made, most of it is still in existence somewhere in the world. Plastic pollution, it's clear, is now a global problem. And if we don't do something about it, well, experts now believe that by 2050 there could be more plastic in our oceans than fish.